are you?
I'm good. How are you? Well, we were just messaging. Yeah, I'm so nervous.
I just went upstairs and got changed again. I thought I can't be in my baggies. I wear my baggies all the time, so I thought I've got to show that I don't wear baggies. Well, I do wear baggies all the time, but I can show that I wear shirts and everything as well.
Oh, you look lovely as always. So I was just saying, so when I started doing these lives, I started talking to other bookstagrammers, and the last time I did one was chatting to Libby Page. But I really wanted to talk to people who have a love of books, and yeah, we've met through Instagram, really, haven't we?
Through books, basically.
Through books, yeah.
Just your wonderful account.
Oh,
well, it's great because you obviously, you know, report on all the books, and then, well, you're a nightmare actually because you're very costly.
Sorry.
Because it's like, oh yes, I must read that one as well. So it's like, right, get that one, and yeah, so it's great just to have that connection with books, and yeah, fantastic.
Oh, so I joined your weekly workout group.
Weekly workout family,
family.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm not a massive fan of exercise, but I failed.
You're doing well though.
I'm doing quite well actually.
Yeah, really well.
It's your videos are just fun. I mean, you learn a lot. There's so many things I'm like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah,
that's what was going on. But yeah, I've been really enjoying them. Apart from the pillowcase. Who would have thought a pillowcase could be so painful?
So deadly, exactly, yeah. Well, it's funny though, because it is just, yeah, I mean, you know, the weekly workout fan has been going so long, and you know, I read obviously a lot, and a lot of that is to do with work, you know, about the body and stuff like that. So like I said, your account is just so lovely, just to do something completely different. You know, reading is my haven where I can just go and get a book and just sit down and read, and you know, nothing to do with work. You know, I do that in my work time, and it's just so lovely. So yeah, you might not think that when I tell you my books. We were laughing at this, but everyone's going to be like, she's so happy and smiling, she likes those books. I'm like, yes I do. It's going to be very telling. There's something in there somewhere, the psyche.
I'm going to have to see what everyone thinks. If you have questions as you're going along, I will try and keep up with the comments, but there is in the bottom corner, there's a little question box. So if you have any questions for Jo, if you fill them in there, then I think they ping up, and I won't get sort of carried away and completely forget that it's not just me and Jo sitting here having a little chat. There are people listening.
Exactly. I was quite worried because obviously, you know, you've had authors on before, and I, you know, I mean, I love my books and I belong to 2 book clubs, but I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not on, you know, my books that I've chosen are, you know, it's really difficult when you said to choose 6, 7 books. Oh my gosh, it's so difficult, isn't it? Just really yeah, because half the time as well, people say to me, what am I reading? And I can't even remember the book I'm reading, let alone what I started to read with. It's, yeah, so I just got to have a little, I thought, well, it's like a night out, so I thought I'd have a little glass of wine.
You're being Owen. But we did have a little bit of a laugh, didn't we, when we were talking about it, and you were talking about your books, and there's a theme, isn't there, to your books?
Yeah, quite a morose theme, and yeah, it's sort of like there's no spoilers in my my themes. It's yeah, not a lot of people live, which is really bad. Everyone's a book club. Like I said, I belong to 2 book clubs, and they be almost now sort of like saying to me, Jo, no more books on what you like, because you're just bringing us, and especially it's been really interesting in lockdown, because again, I do choose not morose books. They're interesting books. I don't find them morose, but a lot of people do. But you know, it's funny how I've even chosen, like the last 2 books I read were on penguins, how I wanted to be lifted a little bit. So, you know, I thought, oh God, I better not choose another down one. So yes, I just chose 2 on penguins, which I loved. And then what am I reading at the minute? The Murder Club, Thursday Murder Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
enjoying that one.
Yeah, and the Marlowe Murder Club before that. Loved that actually.
It's brilliant. I can't wait for the second one, because actually we're pretty much, you're Marlowe born and bred.
Marlowe born and bred, yeah.
Neighbours, aren't we? So
yeah.
But we
so it's interesting, just yeah, having a book set in Marlowe, and obviously the author is in Marlowe, isn't he? He lives in Marlowe. Yeah. But I love Death in Paradise. It's what, sorry?
You're the postman. I was like, hello, Fred.
Right, oh my gosh. But
So
again,
funny.
in lockdown, Death in Paradise, I loved it. Me and my husband love it because that is just pure escapism. It's just wonderful. Yeah, absolutely lovely. So I'll bring you down with my books.
Go on then. Well,
Right, but but you will laugh at the first one because again, you said to me, choose books that you can remember and that have almost not been poignant in your life, but, you know, books that I can remember. So I've chosen books that I can remember quite vividly. And there has been, like I said, you know, I had a list of 30 and then I had to try and whittle it down. And my genres are all over the place as well. I'm very much, I read it because I'm very renowned in book club as well for giving a lot of 10s because I just like it for what it is. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I don't pick it apart like I should do properly. My first book, everybody will laugh at this. Get ready. It's really, really intellectual.
I was so shocked. She was like, they're all morose, they're all really depressing. And this one popped up and I was like, what?
Yeah, not this one. So I started well as a child, then it went down from about 12. So Santa Mouse.
Oh.
This is my first book. So, and this is, everybody knows my love of Christmas. I absolutely love Christmas. So, and this is almost a family book. My whole family loves Christmas. Oh. And interestingly, Michael Brown that wrote it, and this is which is even nicer, the story. So Michael Brown, he gifted a year's money to Harper Lee so that she could, and he basically said to him, nobody knew at that time, he just said have a year off work and go and write a story. And it was he's a lyricist. It's just beautifully written, you know, it's a poem, and he basically gifted to it, and I thought, my God, that's like paying it forward. Back then he did to Harper Lee, and in that year she wrote To Kill a Mockingbird.
Wow.
Yeah. So such a lovely man, and this is about like little Santa. Well, he was a little mouse. Just saving a piece of cheese to give to Santa Claus all through the year. So he basically saved all his stuff and then gave it. And I just think, it's just a lovely book. And the inside, the pictures and everything, I just love. And that's, well, it wasn't where I got my love of Christmas from, but it pretty much confounded it basically. So yeah. That's my first book, Santa's Mouse. So
is that your original copy from when you were a kid as well?
You know, no, I phoned my mum and I said to her, you know, have you got Santa Mouse? You know, I can even remember writing my name, you know, in it. And I think I have. And then they didn't. I know, how dare
they. You bought that one?
So I bought this one and it was so expensive. But I thought actually it's really nice because I will show it to sort of like all my nieces and nephews are growing up now. Yeah. But to friends' children when they come round. Not even at Christmas. I'm just going to indulge them. Christmas every day. So yes, that's my first. That's my first book. But like I said to you, my growing up, why I think I got into books was that my dad collects albums. My dad's a real music man, and we used to sit down and listen to music, and we used to read all the lyrics and all the, you know, the beautiful albums, and that's what really got me into reading. And I have actually here, which I said I would show. So I got it from my dad, and it's the Donovan album. And this is what got me into reading, because in the album you have all the beautiful, I don't know if you can see, all the beautiful words, and it's just lovely. And that is really what got me into reading and, you know, words, and I just love it. And it's just such a, you know, I've got to make sure, my dad said to me, hold it upright all the time. You're not allowed to lay it down. They go, Dad.
Oh, that's lovely. Do you know, when you were saying that, I was thinking, I remember doing that, reading like lyrics and albums, and it's a shame that they don't, well, I guess everything's like, don't listen and buy CDs or whatever anymore. But I'm somebody who really mishears lyrics.
Yeah. Oh, right, so you're completely wrong.
So actually, they need to bring that back just for people like me, so I can sing the right song.
Yeah. Well, it's that I used to remember all the words, and now I can't remember anything. But my nieces and nephews can remember. And well, it's like the books, you know, going back when you asked me, it's like, you know, remembering. Actually, I can remember the title and sort of what they are, but then going back and you know, reading them again or, you know, researching them again, it was so interesting, the points that you think, oh my God, I knew I read, you know, I like that for a reason. So, but yeah, it was really from, lyrics, really. That's how I got into it. So, so shall I show you my second book?
Yeah, let's go on to a second. There's a few here that I feel are books that I should have read and I haven't read. And this next one is one of the ones that I feel like I should have done, but I haven't.
Right.
So you've got to convince me.
Right, okay. Well, it was, again, sort of like, you know, I was going through my teenage years of sort of like, you know, Judy Blume and Flowers in the Attic, Virginia, was it Virginia Andrews? And which, when you look back now, is quite sort of like brother and sister and a little bit of in the loft. I'm like, I really like that series as well. What does that say about me as well? So I thought I'll leave that one out. So the most poignant one for me is Of Mice and Men. And literally John Steinbeck, John Steinbeck. Again, it just, for me, just sort of like the underdog resonated with me, and just the relationship that they have, George and Lenny, and, you know, the ending, you know, I don't want to give a spoiler alert, but all my books are the same. So it just really, I just can remember it. It was just quite poignant and quite shocking as well that people could behave in that way. And, you know, but just the friendship as well. And I, you know, again, it's been quite poignant looking back. I like books where there's an underdog almost, and then there's a poignancy, and you know, I always liked, and this will be apparent with a couple of my books, like Aesop's Fables growing up. I love Aesop's Fables. You know, I've got the book here. I love them, and you know, the moral of the story, and so I suppose this is sort of like, no, there is a moral to the story of this. But this is, Of Mice and Men, a poignant book. And you haven't read it?
I haven't read it.
No, you get through that in 2 minutes.
It's really short, doesn't it? So
yeah, you'd read that in 2 minutes, Helen. You just do this.
I think I'll save it. Like, I'm just looking, there's like, they're all underdogs in this one, and then like a little tear. I'm like, little cry. Not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm ready for, is it super sad?
No. Okay. Basically, don't read any of the books I'm going to show you.
You're feeling a bit down. Okay.
No, you can take good, because there is, you know, there's like, you know, wanting the American dream and, you know, not achieving it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll save that for summer when it's all bright and I can sort of...
Yeah. Well, actually, this is one of my good ones. This is one of my happy ones. You're never going to do this again, Helen.
I have to message everyone. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You're having Santa Mouse to the end.
Yeah, I know. Oh God, yeah, because my last one is just even worse. We're all different. That's the beauty, isn't it? And this is what I thought. I could have chosen books that I thought people would like, or, you know, what I have liked and they're happy, but it's the ones that really resonated with me that I can remember.
And that's what we talked about. Is like, I think it's when it means something to you it's more interesting, because we could all pick off books that we think, you know, we've enjoyed and we feel we should say they're special to us, but we all have different ones that hit us at the right time and things. So, so a question coming in from Angela. She's saying, can I ask, do you ever go back to your favourites to reread and get the same feeling as when you first read them?
Funnily enough, yes. Because for one of my book clubs, I chose, I've chosen two of these books, one of these books, and it resonated more. Yeah. Because it's so poignant, and I don't know why, but it was just, you know, it was gut-wrenching for me, and it was a real divided, and in our book clubs, I love it when it's quite divisive and everyone's different and that we all have different opinions, but it's funny how, you know, sometimes people, you know, somebody else will like what I like, and that seems to be a thread, you know, and we're like the same thing down the line. But they've never forgiven me for giving them the autobiography of Muhammad Ali, which is about 700 pages.
So I'm rubbish with big books.
Yeah. I heard you say that because I think one of your authors before said Kate Mo's The Labyrinth. You haven't read that, and that's a big book. Yeah. I loved it. I loved it. Yeah, give me a big morose book.
Note for Christmas.
So I show you, right, I'll go on to the next one.
Let's more.
Let's see how more we can get.
Is everyone still here? Is everyone just like going off on fire?
Everyone's like, oh god. Everyone's going to feel so good after this though. I brighten up everyone's day with my book choices. So the next book was, which really got me into, I love reading World War I and II. And I just find it interesting. And everyone says, oh, why? It's so morose, it brings you down. And it's like, but this is our history. And I don't know what it is. I just feel like I owe it to, my grandfather and that I should know about it and, and what people went through. So I properly immersed myself in it. And there couldn't be more immersing in than All Quiet on the Western Front. So one of actually the classics. But it's actually written. Have you read this, Helen?
No, that's another one I haven't read. I'm sorry.
Don't you worry. Not many people would have. Actually, they would have done it. So it's actually different in the fact that it's written from a German perspective on when it's the World War I in the trenches of written about a young man called Paul and his classmates really going into the trenches. Into World War I on the French-German border, and it is harrowing. It is absolutely harrowing. It's probably, I think it was used as an anti-war book. I might be wrong in that, but there is no getting away from the warfare and what it evokes is, it is awful. But equally, it makes you realise how lucky we are not having to have gone through that. So again, it's so I almost make myself read these things to realize but that is really evocative of World War I in the trenches. And terrible that these young men were sent to war. So, so that's I put on there on the German the French front. But all the war books. There's one book again, which is War and Wine, which is brilliant, and that's set in France, and it's about how all the champagne houses hid all their wine away when they were invaded by Germany, and that's fantastic because I love my wine as well. And you learn about the champagne houses and the ways that they were, so sneaky in hiding it, which was brilliant. But I love all, anything about, Sebastian Faulk's Birdsong. Again, but to me that's sort of like more, it's terrible, it's more mainstream, terrible in its writing and what it wrote about, but this is
hard hitting,
yeah. So
I think that's, there are times like you do read and it is to learn and things, and we talked about this and we spoke, and I was saying I do like historical fiction. And I'm kind of drawn to stories like that because you do see, the resilience of people, and there are some amazing sort of stories of heroes and things. So I haven't read that one. I looked at that one today and I was like, I will read it. I will read it.
It's funny with historical fiction and but again, isn't it? We're always drawn, and that's what's the beauty about book club, is that it takes you out of your comfort zone. And the two book clubs I'm in, some of the books I'd never pick up, and some I've been quite surprised in what I've actually really enjoyed, and I never would have picked them up. So that's the beauty of it, about reading, that you might look at a cover and what it's about, but then it then opens up a whole new world to you, and I love that.
It's fabulous. I had a book sent to me by a publisher recently, and the dog got the blurb that came with it and chewed it. So I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
So
what's this book then?
I would never have picked it up if I'd read the blurb because it's kind of science fiction and things. I would never have picked it up. But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed so it's funny, isn't it? Yeah, so they like book clubs can lead you, or just sometimes it's just good to try. I think you do sort of have ideas of what you may or may not enjoy, but every now and again it's good to sort of dip outside.
And you do generally tend to pick the sort of like the same like-minded book, don't you, or by the same author as well. So it's good to be, I do like that. It's a lottery, isn't it? You pick your sweets, and I do like that. And sometimes when one of the book club members might pick a book, and I'll be thinking to myself, oh, I'm really not going to enjoy that. And like Gentlemen in Moscow we had, which I'm digressing, but I love that. I love that.
It's the most recommended book that I still haven't read. I know everyone's going to throw things.
Yes.
Will throw something at me because she's been
right, yeah. I didn't think I'd like it, and it was so descriptive. And I'm because I think I'm come from like a sport background. I don't like description. You know, I'm chemistry, I'm biology, I'm that. You know, so I like a book to just be a book. You know, I don't like flowery and all that. But it's beautiful, and it's so it just paints the picture in your mind. And yeah, I love that book.
I have to read it.
Right, there you go.
I have to read it.
Yeah.
I think my list is just going.
I know. Well, yours list must be a nightmare.
Yeah, mine can't be called a list anymore. I don't
No.
think. It's like whatever the next phase on from list is. That's
When you go on holiday, if you've got like a massive suitcase on your back, books.
Yeah.
There's your workout. That's why you don't need to work out, Helen.
Yeah, fountain books.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Okay. Do you want to tell us about your loving this chat? Definitely going to pick us some of these up. Oh, thank you. So yeah, do you want to tell us about your next one? I've actually read this one.
And this is really morose as well. So, well, again, it's sort of like, is everyone still there? How come we've got 5 people watching now? I'm just going to glass of wine. My next book, and this, I think this is the one that I always mention to people, and this is one that I gave to book club, The Cellist of Sarajevo.
That's fabulous.
I love it. And you know, obviously not the subject matter, but again, the fact that it's music and and I listened to the music actually this afternoon. Is it Albany Adagio in G minor, and the story of the cellist of Sarajevo, and I wrote his name down, Vedran Smolovic, probably pronounced that wrong.
Sounds perfect to me.
And the fact that he came, and that's a true story actually, isn't it? That he actually did come out there where 22 people were queuing for bread and were killed in a mortar attack, and then he came out every day on the streets of Sarajevo and played Adagio, and then it's obviously fiction with the 3 main characters and the young girl Arrow in it, and just the fact that it was just so, and even though it's fiction, the fact that the war though was just so recent and just so awful, and just again it just it shows you the atrocities of war and what people had to go through, and in our lifetime, and I didn't realise then how atrocious it was, but how music or the cellist really, people would stop when he started to play, and the war would stop, and they would listen. And it reminded me of, was it World War II when they had the football match and they stopped for a little bit and people came together, and but this just and this is what I've reread, and I loved it. And there's always something that you can pick up, and the relationship between, even though they weren't related, the people in it. What did you think?
This is the sorry, people are asking. This is the Cellist of Sarajevo. I will put all the books that Joe's talking about in the caption when I save this video, so you'll find it. This is the Cellist of Sarajevo.
Can you put some really light ones in there as well?
So just
interject some nice ones, Helen.
Okay, I'll edit it. No, I won't, because it's fabulous. It's like people that have missed this. It's a real shame, because this is, I think, I would say that's really annoys me, the fake stickers on books. Have you got? Oh,
no, this is well penned, this one.
Oh, look, they really annoy me. I don't normally recommend a book for somebody on here, but today I was thinking, have you read this one, The Pianist of Yarmouk?
No.
He played for love and for his family for an end to an endless war. So this is his, Assyrian, Damascus, and it's beautiful.
Oh,
you can actually, he wheels his piano out into the streets.
So very similar.
Very similar.
Yeah.
You can actually,
and that's a true story as well.
Yeah. There's lots of YouTube videos of him playing now, and it was BBC Radio 4 Book of the Week. I can't remember who recommended this one to me. It was Bookstagram one, but I thought of it today and I was like, oh, do you know what, you must read this. I'll send it to you, Jo.
Yes, yeah, brilliant. Because on the same time when I gave that to book club, I actually gave them the A Life's Music, Andre McKean. Have you read that?
No.
And that's about a pianist, and it's Russia, and it's sort of like a man on a train going back and telling his story of how he had to evade, and actually my husband preferred that one to this one. And that sounds very similar to your one.
Yeah,
with the piano.
Fabulous.
But again, isn't it sort of like how music can bring everyone together? And this, yeah. Oh, I'll definitely read that one. That sounds great.
Yes, yeah, I was just trying to think about it. So, oh yeah, this is amazing because he actually had a really bright future. Oh, you have to read it. It's just like he's a really talented musician. Yeah. Just, I'll send it to you.
Right, okay, right, lovely. Yeah,
I'll put that in the comments as well, just in case anyone wants to read that one as well. This. Okay, so where are you taking us next then, Jo?
Right, I'm taking you now somewhere very different, and this I think comes from reading Aesop's fables and that when I was little. I've always had sort of I do like Greek mythology, and also I train a couple of clients and their daughters are scholars and everything, and it just intrigues me. So very, very different, but I loved it, and I'm going to put these two together. Song of Achilles and Cersei.
Yeah.
Love them. Absolutely love them. Again, I say very different. The Trojan War. So really, war again. But the relationship, and I know if I say the names, I'll get the names completely wrong.
I know exactly. Go ahead.
And Achilles. So I sort of like, so the scholars will tell me off for the names. But I just love the relationship between Achilles and Patroclus and the whole story behind it, and Achilles' mother and that whole, you read it and you glean little things from your childhood that you can remember, or sayings that have been said, and you think, oh my God, like the Straits of Scylla, going through the Straits of Scylla, and it's, oh my gosh, I understand what that means now. And Icarus, fly, and so it just, completely takes you in a different world. And I really enjoyed it, and because I did read the Iliad by Homer, but that was hard. Yeah. And I didn't really, I say I read it, I attempted to read it. So that was why I attempted it. It wasn't a bedtime book. And that's why reading this, it's like, oh yes, it just, it's I suppose the easy read of the Iliad and the Odyssey, isn't it? Yeah. But it was this lovely storytelling, and they were nice to read together. I really enjoyed them, and Cersei as well. Her, being, she loved and then she lost and then was horrible and then redeemed. Great.
I've only read Cersei. I haven't read Achilles yet.
I actually preferred that.
Everyone tells me that's the better one. Well, I shouldn't say better one, but
on that one, it was sort of like all the nymph names. I got to the point on Cersei with the nymph names. I just was like, oh, it's a bit too much. So I had to you have to get over that, don't you, to get to the sort of like the crux of the main characters. But I think I definitely preferred that one than Cersei. But they were just again, I just remember reading, and they're very recent actually, so that's probably why. Yeah, with my memory.
I loved Greek mythology at school. And did you ever watch the sort of, I guess they were like 70s, 80s, the really awful movies like
Jason and the
Argonauts? I loved it. Yes, I loved those. Yeah, absolutely loved them.
Yeah, that was on just recently actually, and it's really. But also that's why I'm really into. And he was saying this, I love all the Marvel movies, and again, very different, and sort of like takes you out of your being. All the old, Jason and the Argonauts.
That's it, Jason and the Argonauts.
It's really bad. I remember Harry Hamlin was the, my memory for that. Harry Hamlin was the lead, I think the lead in that.
Oh, really?
Young Harry Hamlin,
Like plasticine, everything just looks like...
Yeah.
I mean, there weren't really special effects, weren't there, in those days, to be fair?
Yeah, we probably would have been really scared at that point.
Hiding behind the sofa.
And now it's like...
My kids would probably find it hilarious. They probably wouldn't be afraid of it.
No.
All right, so sorry. You Can't Beat a Good Book. The Silence of the Girls. That's another one I haven't read. Have you read The Silence of the Girls?
No.
Yeah, there's so many. I've just been sent actually.
And what is The Silence of the Girls? What's that about?
I'll write it down. I'll add it on. The
Yeah.
Silence of the Girls. I've just been sent a proof for Ariadne, which I think comes out next month. So I'm actually quite looking forward to getting back into that one as well. Silence of the Girls. I'll add that onto the list. Okay, so is it yours? Are we on
Last book.
the last book?
Yeah, last book, which again I've read recently, Hamnet. Have you read that, Helen?
I have. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, really, really enjoyed it. And again, I think I read it in pretty, quick time, and so I would, because I read this actually just after Where the Crawdads Sing, which I know you didn't like. You didn't like. Yeah. I love that.
I think it was so hyped. I loved like the nature writing in it, but I think I went into it with everyone going, "Oh, it's amazing! You'll love it! You'll love it!" And I was like, didn't quite do it for me.
Yeah, no, I loved it, and I I was weeping at that, but this was gut wrenching.
Yeah.
And obviously if people haven't read it, I don't want to, well, everyone knows my book, so no spoiler alert in that.
Great happy ending.
Yes, a really, really happy ending. And they live happily ever after. But I just thought that was, honestly, I can remember Oscar, my husband, coming in. It's like, "You're all right?" I'm like, it was just, and a shocker. I thought it was shocking. And just the twins, and just the love of the mother, and the everything, grief. I thought it was palpable. I thought it was So for making me feel, bringing out all these emotions, I would say Hamlet is definitely up there as well. There's so many though, Helen. There's so many books. I was so, oh my God, well, just how many
so took so little time.
Yeah. And again, it's remembering though, isn't it? Because I think sometimes with music you can remember where you were at that particular time, or maybe a movie, but with books they sort of like, you read so many, they merge, and the storytellings get mixed up when you keep reading. Apart from Santa Mouse, I can always remember that.
Oh, I think I have to get that one too now. If you had to pick one of those books, Jo, if you could only have one, sorry, I think I know which one you're going to choose though. I feel.
I think, well, it would be Cersei Sarajevo.
With it. What about poor Santa Mouse? You can't put Santa Mouse.
I know, but I just think, no, Santa Mouse, then go on then, Santa Mouse. Yeah, put Santa Mouse.
Have to.
Yeah, okay. Can I have two?
You can have two.
I just think, Santa Mouse, because there's a song, so I could, if I had to choose one, then I could just remember the song the whole time and just be happy. I could read Santa Mouse after Chalice to Sarajevo.
I think I'm going to have to read that again, the Chalice to Sarajevo. I think I'm going to go back on my list to read, because it's such a long time since I've read it that I think I'll...
Yeah, but it didn't go down. It was 50/50 with my book club, because again, I think some people found it quite morose to read, and didn't want to know, but didn't want to read that.
Any books that sort of genres that you love, as you say, your morose books, so they're like, would you read rom-coms or not? Yeah. And like I said, and historical, I would never read, and again in book club, the Shard Lake series. The Shard Lake series, and I loved that, and that was all about sort of like Henry VIII time. Never would pick that, and that was great. I really enjoyed that. And is it Elizabeth? I can't remember the author. Is it called someone called Elizabeth? And again, that's historical. But yeah, definitely, and more so when we got a little boat, we go on the Thames, and so when we go on the Thames, I always choose something light-hearted. Like I said, the last, before
Marlowe Murder Club. I read, I can't remember, something about Tell Me About the Penguins. It was 2 books about penguins.
Away with the Penguins.
That's it, Away with Penguins.
It was cute, wasn't it?
Really lovely. Yeah,
Hazel
really
Pryor.
lovely.
Is that Hazel Pryor?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, great about the old lady.
Yeah.
And going to Antarctic.
Really
yeah, and I can imagine.
Sorry.
I can imagine a film being made of that.
Yeah, that'd be cute actually.
Yeah,
cute.
yeah.
Feel good. Her other book, Ellie and the Heartmaker. That's a good one too.
Yeah, I must read that. Yeah, I thought they should write that, written that. But yeah, no, I do, and I like that Barbara Cartland. But I do tend to go for the more, the big books, Ken Follett, and it's more morose ones. But no, I'm totally with book club because we have so that it keeps me quite busy with the books. And like I say, that's we've had the one at the minute that we've got to do book club tomorrow. It's Lady Glenconnor, that book.
Oh, Lady in Waiting.
That's it. Yeah.
Did you like it?
Really enjoyed that. Yeah.
She's a great character, isn't she?
Yeah, brilliant. And the last book was Becoming by Michelle Obama as well. Love that. You didn't like that?
I started it, and then I think when I'm reading it, I'm trying so hard to hear her voice as I'm reading it that it so I'm going to switch to audio, I think, for that and listen to her.
Yeah, that's it. Because we listened to the Obama by audio. Yeah. And yes, that's actually quite a good idea because if it is, then. But I thought because I just found it interesting, when it got the backstory probably was a bit boring, but then when they got into the sort of like the elections and all that, that was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm open. I'm open to any reading. There's only 2 books there was one. What was it? That was John Updike, Rabbit Run. That's the one I could. I tend to, if I start a book, I like to finish it. But Rabbit Run, I just couldn't read. John Updike, and there was another one. Let's Talk About Kevin.
Oh, yeah.
Is it Hilary Mantel? No. Who wrote that? Lionel Shriver.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, it was very dark.
Yeah.
Very dark.
Yeah, and that's for me saying that. Yeah. Crikey. It must have been. Yeah. So I couldn't get through that, and again, I think it was more the subject matter I found very hard to get through. But I do make myself read them.
I do. If I can't get in something, then I'll put it down and leave it for a month or so and then try it again. If I can't get it into the second time, it's out.
Right.
And I've had a few times where the second time, I've just finished reading Elif Shafak's The 40 Rules of Love.
Right.
First time, couldn't get into it. Second time, I've just loved it. It's been such a beautiful read. But
do you think lockdown has changed your reading, your way of reading? You've gone for a different book because of lockdown.
I mean, I think last week, I generally quite like thrillers. I think my thriller days might be slightly behind me now. The last one I read was it's all female victims, and I was like, oh, actually, it's making me feel a bit uncomfortable. But I'm a mood reader, so I try to I set myself a TBR of what I want to read in a month. But I do get sent quite a lot of books as well. So when something comes through, I'm a magpie. And I'm like,
how many books do you get through? How many do you generally get through?
This last, I think February was a bit of a crazy one. I think I had 14, 15 books.
My gosh. Right. So your imagination, it just must be just fantastic.
But I get panicky because I'm like, I really want to read backlist books as well. The ones that have been like The Gentleman in Moscow that's been sitting there for ages. I'm so shameless. Like a new one comes through the door and I'm like, hello.
Yeah. Well, I suppose so if you have to review it as well, then you have to do it then, don't you? And then other books that, I think we've all got our piles of books that we want to read and we haven't got around to reading. Yeah. And that's the beauty in, and actually more so for me in lockdown, I've done that because I've tended to, my time out isn't to go on the computer, I'm doing so much more of that in lockdown with work, with the weekly workout club. I've wanted to get away from that, so it's just been really nice then to just have a glass of wine, pick up my book and immerse myself in the fantasy or the moroseness of the book.
So leave the real world and all the sort of morose stuff that we're dealing with on the news to go into a morose book.
Yeah, exactly. And you realise actually life isn't that bad.
Yeah,
you know, I'm sat here with my glass of wine in lockdown,
exactly.
and I'm reading about stuff, and I'm thinking actually, you know, it's not, it's okay.
Yeah,
So,
I think readers are really lucky. Like, I mean, I've said several times throughout lockdown, I do feel lucky that I can pick up a book and just leave it behind and just go wherever I want to.
Yeah, it's also that, I mean, you know, like I said, I'm a great you know, I love films as well, you know, you'll know when I talk about films a lot as well, and music as well, you know, I just think just having that, you know, away from everything and just take you in your own world and just immerse yourself in that, I think is just really nice. Yeah.
Oh, it's been so lovely.
Yeah, no, thank you. I really enjoyed it.
You all night. Hopefully when lockdown lifts, we'll get to meet in real life.
Yeah, definitely.
Have a little catch up about books then. But yeah, thank you so much.
No, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for asking me, and I will speak to you soon, Helen.